Do you want to become a talk show host? Do you have a great idea? Passionate World Talk Radio is currently looking for podcast hosts for our internet talk radio station. Please email us at twrnetworkllc@gmail.com with your name, email address, cell phone number, and podcast topic. In return, you will receive a 3-minute intro on air to a live audience about your podcast. Remember, just email us your name, email address, and your podcast topic, and in return, you will receive a free 3-minute intro on the air. How cool is that? Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain.
Welcome to Creative Psychotherapy, produced by Passionate World Talk Radio. Creative Psychotherapy represents a forum to explore an array of cutting-edge research and unique interventions focused on the treatment of several psychological issues. I'm your host, Audrey O'Neill, a psychotherapist based in New York. In today's episode, I'll be discussing finding joy in life. You may have heard many expressions about the fact that we only have one life to live and therefore we should live it to the fullest. Living to the fullest includes feeling and experiencing the joy of life. There are many dimensions to experiencing the joy in life, such as how well we take care of ourselves, how we relate to others, our friendships, our social environments, our strengths, our interests. These are dimensions that contribute to the joy that we experience in life. Some research has also pointed out that people differ in the happiness levels that they experience in their lives. You may know people who appear to be attractive, educated, and have a measure of wealth, and yet they seem to be extremely unhappy. On the other hand, you may know people who are living a very simple life, who have neither of the assets mentioned, and yet they are thriving, and they are living fully, and they appear to be very happy. So you may be wondering at this point, what is the secret to happiness? One of the most valuable approaches to embracing joy in your life is simply to focus on yourself. You may be thinking that that sounds self-centered and therefore could only have the opposite effect and not contribute at all to your happiness. But in fact, when you focus on yourself, this means you focus on what you want to do, what you believe in, how you believe you can be happy. In order to focus on yourself, you do need a certain amount of assertiveness, and you do need to check if you have any beliefs which may be limiting about just that, focusing on yourself. For example, as I mentioned before, some people believe that focusing on self is self-centered, and therefore they may shy away from concentrating on areas of their lives that can bring them happiness. Let's use a controlling parent as an example. The parent has a son, and the son is a very talented athlete. He wants to follow his passion of being on a soccer team. He is about to enter high school, and he's an excellent student. Therefore, he was eligible for several high schools he could attend. However, the controlling parent decided to choose a school for him, and it turned out to be a school that did not have a soccer team. Even though the student is a minor, if he's not an assertive person, he will be very unhappy about going to that school. On the other hand, if he asserts himself and lets it be known to the controlling parent that he is a very good soccer player and that it would make a big difference if he were going to a school that had a soccer team, he would be more pleased, more satisfied with that decision. Not every teenager can be that assertive when they have a controlling parent, But this example serves to show that it is important to be assertive in order to get the most out of life. In other words, you have to be in control of what it is that you want to do with your life. And you also have to be willing to be assertive when there are obstacles in the way, preventing you from being able to focus on yourself and achieve the things that you want to achieve. After all, it is you living this life, not anyone else. Someone very wise once said, life is not a dress rehearsal. And it is absolutely true. Focusing on yourself is not a self-centered activity. On the other hand, it encourages the person to be assertive so that they can bring more joy into their lives and do the things in their lives that encourage happiness. There are also people who engage in what is known as altruistic surrender. Don't try to look it up. This term is very archaic because you may only find it in a psychology textbook, as it was coined by Anna Freud. But what it means is that a person who gives up their dream in order to help another person fulfill their dreams is engaging in this kind of altruistic surrender. For example, let's take a look at a young lady who just graduated college. Her parent just opened a business and decided that she needed help, and so she enlisted her daughter to help her. The daughter agrees to help the mother in her new venture, but ends up deferring her own dreams. In other words, she ends up being overqualified and underemployed in the position of a desk clerk, and this goes on for years. Eventually, this young lady becomes unemployable in the career that she originally chose because she has no experience in that career, as she has been a desk clerk for years. This may sound like an extreme example of not focusing on self, but it is important to take a look at it because many people end up in this situation. Sometimes these people are known as people pleasers, and they seem to derive their satisfaction from pleasing others and taking the focus off of themselves. Often these kinds of people fear being disliked, or they feel that they would not be able to tolerate the disapproval of a parent, even if it meant giving up their own dreams. How many people do you know like this? This example leads us to understand that one of the avenues to finding joy in life is to fulfill dreams, not defer them. There are other people that seem to not be able to find joy in their lives because they neglect themselves. In other words, they find themselves in situations where they may be feeling disempowered due to the fact that they may not have finished their studies or prepared for a career. One such person was in an unhappy marriage, and she left her husband and moved across the country with her 2 sons. Her sons both had a mild form of autism. However, once they finished high school, that person did not encourage them to go into a program or to learn job skills or to even continue with their education. As a result, she spent most of her time trying to persuade them to do so, but did not seek help for them or support for herself since she had 2 resistant sons. As a result, she never self-actualized because she decided to see herself as their caregiver and never pursued her dreams or passions. Now that the sons are adults, she is almost a senior citizen and is living in poor economic circumstances as well as not being in the best of health. This is an example of self-neglect. That is why it's so important for people to take care of themselves in order to not only achieve their dreams but find more joy. For example, physical fitness contributed greatly to the joy of many people. Certain forms of physical fitness, such as running, can produce a sense of joy. Many of the journals devoted to track and field have talked about why the term the runner's high is so impactful. This means that a form of physical fitness, such as running, can also be a source of joy. I can use myself as an example. I find that being out in nature and running on a trail is one of the greatest forms of happiness that I've ever experienced. Research has shown that being in nature can produce these feelings of happiness as well as interconnectedness with nature. And this activity is absolutely free. In other words, you don't have to spend huge amounts of money to engage in this activity, and you don't have to go very far from your home. Once you develop passions in your life, they seem to attract more and more joy as well. Satisfaction and interpersonal relationships are also factors that determine the level of joy that one experiences in life. A longitudinal Harvard study, known as the Harvard Study of Adult Development, showed that relationships and the level of happiness that we experience in our relationships can contribute to physical wellness. Psychiatrist Dr. Robert Waldinger pointed out that self-care in terms of physical health is a positive step to take, but more importantly, how we care for our relationships is equally as important. The study showed that close relationships contribute greatly to happiness in people's lives. The study also showed that close relationships are protective factors that keep cognitive and physical decline at bay and can predict happiness in long-term relationships, far better than genes can ever do, or even social class and IQ, according to the study. This study also revealed that marital satisfaction played a role in terms of the effect on a person's mental health, and it played a role as a protective factor as well. The people that experienced happy relationships lived longer, and those who experienced loneliness did not have warm, loving relationships and passed away sooner. The researchers concluded that loneliness can be as devastating as alcohol abuse or smoking. Researcher and health psychologist Dr. Kelly McGonigal explained that it's important for people to search for joy in their environments. She made an inspiring statement and guided people to look for joy, and the more that they looked for it, the more that it seemed to appear. She discussed that there were so many pleasures in life that brought joy, and some were more simple than others, and some were more complex. She also mentioned the people who felt a sense of connection with a higher power, or with nature, or even with their families, experienced greater amounts of joy in their lives. Another aspect that she described was the joy that can be found when a person has curiosity and is open to new experiences and surprises that life may bring. The more joy you experience in your life, as simple or complex as it may be, the more that it will appear in your life. The researcher said that even enjoying a good meal can help decrease stress levels and help a person feel less overwhelmed. The researcher suggested that people should try to capture other people's joy and be open to it. She used an excellent example from a study that had shown that another person that is experiencing pain can also trigger pain in your own brain, or what is termed the pain system in the brain. The researcher pointed out that the brain will also activate positive emotions. So for example, if you meet somebody who's just come from the casino and they've just won a big hit, for example, this can also tap into and activate your brain's reward system. She described this as contagious joy. That can also be described as a fountain of well-being. The researcher also explained that when a person experiences empathy, it is often connected to more life satisfaction as well as happiness and inner peace. It even goes further than that. It can also engender more trust, a feeling of more support, and a feeling of more satisfaction in relationships. The experience of empathetic joy is so powerful. Research has shown that teachers who experience it appear to have more empathy towards their students and feel a sense of interconnection with them. This feeling of interconnection and this positive empathy resulted in more gratifying and more positive connections and interactions with students that were clearly observed by their supervisors and eventually led to higher rates of achievement among the students. Positive empathy is also a great contributor to joy in life. It engenders good feelings and it inspires people to behave in more adaptive ways towards each other as well as to help others to have positive experiences. It actually creates a feeling of well-being and joy that comes from contributing positively to others' lives or helping them, and this leads to the expression of compassion, which can also open up a door to greater joy in life. There are many ways to experience joy. Sometimes it comes from the sense of feeling appreciated. Joy can also come from allowing ourselves to improve and to experience optimal joy, as well as from recognizing strengths. People can experience joy by practicing self-compassion. This means by slowing down if you're having a difficult moment and letting yourself know that you're taking a break now and realizing that if you are in a difficult situation, you are not alone. Therefore, do you want to activate self-compassion? Researcher Kristin Neff discusses the value of self-compassion. It can definitely bring joy because it includes connection with others when you are realizing that you are not alone in a difficult situation. When you practice compassion towards yourself, it makes it more possible for you to practice compassion towards others as well. As you do this, you become more open to helping others who are in distress because you know how to help yourself when you are in distress. This is a meditation on joy. It's a meditation about accessing joy when you need it. Because connection with others, in connection with nature, these are sources of joy. So imagine yourself in a lush and cool forest. Use your senses to pick up on the sights and sounds around you. You hear water flowing. Do you hear birds chirping? You hear the leaves on the trees rustling. In front of you, you see a walking trail, and it looks like a labyrinth. You are not sure what direction it will take you, but you suddenly feel compelled to walk on it. In front of you, you see a chain of mountains. As you are walking, you feel drawn to continue on this path as you feel peaceful in this environment. Along the path, you see lovely flowers, and instantly you experience a sense of joy at the beauty of these flowers. You love the mountains and the trees all around you. Soon it seems that others have joined you on your walk along this path. You smile at each person that passes you and those that are walking towards you, and they smile back at you. You feel a sense of joy, and your heart seems to be spilling over with a sense of joy. You are not sure if these people are related to you, but you have a familial feeling towards them, which makes you feel closer to them. That close connection with these people increases your sense of joy, and suddenly you find yourself laughing. The sense of joy has activated your laughter, and now you feel more at peace as you continue walking on this labyrinth towards the mountains with nature and other people all around you. You are almost at the end of the trail and you stop to speak to someone who is standing there with you. You have a feeling of warmth towards them as if you've known them from before. Perhaps they are your ancestor, but whatever the situation is, you've known them and you are happy to share this moment with this person. And before long, you continue to feel closely connected, and you believe you are now feeling more joyful than you have ever because of the beauty of nature, the connection to the people, and the warm light that seems to be radiating from your heart. This is a moment of connection and a moment of joy. It's so simple. It's the beauty of nature that lifts your spirits, and it's the connection with people you found along the way, and the joy you felt for them because you are happy for them. They are in such a beautiful place walking with you. All of this mixed together has created the most joyful feelings you have ever felt. These feelings will always be accessible to you. Just remember to stay open and compassionate towards every person. And also remember that the beauty of nature is also a source of joy and inspiration. 10. Your joy is increasing. 9. Your frequencies are higher. 8. Your channels for attracting joy are opening. 7. You are attuned to others and others are attuned to you. 6. Your breathing is balanced. 5. You experience inner peace. 4. Let joy guide you. 3, 2, 1. Feel the joy and feel the connection. Thank you for tuning in to Creative Psychotherapy.
Do you want to become a talk show host? Do you have a great idea? Passionate World Talk Radio is currently looking for podcast hosts for our Internet Talk radio station. Please email us at twrnetworkllc@gmail.com with your name, email address, cell phone number, and podcast topic. In return, you will receive a 3-minute intro on air to a live audience about your podcast. Remember, just email us your name, email address, and your podcast topic, and in return, you will receive a free 3-minute intro on the air. How cool is that? Thank you for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You can listen to this program all over again by going over to https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. You can also hear it on Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Alexa, AMFM247.com every Tuesday evening between 8 and 9 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and all the other podcast directories one can find on the Internet.